Welcome back to the At Home with Roby show. I'm Ashley Davis along with Trent Haston from the Roby family of companies. Visit us today at andrewroby.com. That's Andrew, R-O-B-Y.com. Or you can always find us on the WBT.com homepage. Trent, before the break, we talked about outdoor hardscapes, outdoor lighting. If you're thinking about doing any of those types of projects outdoors, call us today, 704-334-5477, or go to andrewroby.com. We're joined now by one of our partners, Principal Land Architect with Urban Design Partners, Paul Pennell. Paul, welcome to the show, buddy.
Ashley, Trent, thank you so much for having me here.
Absolutely.
It's great to be here with Roby today.
Absolutely.
Paul was telling a story during the break before he got on. I said save it for the show about how to pronounce his last name.
Yeah, a lot of people, at least in England, pronounce my last name Pennell. We pronounce it Pennell here. Apparently it was just a family decision to change it just a little bit. My grandfather actually came through Ellis Island as a baby. Great-grandfather came through. But, so that was just their decision to pronounce it Pennell. It's a little rare, I guess, for my name.
I thought it was pretty cool. So you're third generation in the States?
I'm fourth. Yep, I'm fourth generation. So we're relatively new family here in the States. Grandfather grew up in New Jersey, came down to Greenville, went to Furman University, and started his George H. Pennell Company, which they sold, many things, but the first iteration of the company was selling leather drive belts to textile companies. So, of course, my dad was worried that all of his friends who had disciplinary leather straps, he was worried that they would find out that my grandfather was supplying their parents with the disciplinary leather straps for the old Southern whippings, I guess.
Ashley, have I ever told my whipping story with Papa Ron on the radio?
I don't think I've heard that story.
Well, I used to get a good whipping. My dad used a leather belt, and I'd hear him had this long hardwood floor. He was so proud of his hardwood floors hallway. My room was at the end, and my mom would say, "Dad's coming home." I'd lay in my room for about an hour and a half, scared as the world. He's getting my whipping. I'd hear his work boots coming down the hall, ba-boom, 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 on the hardwood floor. I'd hear the belt come off about my sister's room. And then he'd wear me out. And then if me and my sister got in trouble together, he'd go to her room, and he'd wear her out. And we were about 25 years old hanging out. I think we had a toddy. And I said, man, I used to get Dad wore me out. And I said, he wore you out too? She said, he never whipped me. I said, he never whipped you? She said, no, he'd come in my room and hit the floor and tell me to cry. And I promise, God bless his soul, my father passed last year, and in the hospital, I asked him about that story. And the true Marine that he is, he never gave in. He said, boy, you're crazy. He said, hush up. So that's where my dad was getting his belts from the Pennell company.
So what you're saying is Ford better watch out in a couple of years.
Man, I don't know. I've turned into a softie, like a marshmallow. But I think it's cool you have entrepreneurial blood. You're a principal now.
Absolutely.
And I think that's good roots. I like to hear history of where people come from.
So let's talk a little bit about outdoor hardscape, landscaping. No, we can have a whole conversation about leather belts.
Okay.
But outdoor landscaping, hardscapes, you do a lot of commercial work, I know, but you do some residential. It's really transformed what people are doing with their outdoor space now when you talk about architects and designers.
It really has. So much of what we do these days, at least from my perspective in being a landscape architect, we deal with everything on an outdoor level. Architects primarily deal with everything within the building's walls and interior. We deal with everything on the exterior, and we're actually very lucky to live in a great climate where we can actually extend those outdoor living spaces or outdoor usable spaces year-round. We're seeing a lot of move towards these outdoor living spaces being utilized on any given day, regardless of the weather. Luckily, we live in a mild climate where we can take advantage of that.
So you're all about curb appeal, huh?
Absolutely. Curb appeal, but also providing homeowners or our clients a respite, a space where they can get away from maybe the prying eyes of their neighbors and enjoy their interiors, enjoy their spaces outdoors on their own level.
So on the commercial sector, does that include multifamily?
It does.
And senior living and stuff of that nature?
It does. So we're doing a lot of projects right now where it's multifamily projects where outdoor living spaces are very sought after. in the multifamily world, apartments, the level of expectation for renters continues to rise. So we're always having to find the newest, latest, and greatest things that lessees are looking for.
Well, everybody says we have a Roby Cross and National Retirement Corp with senior construction and senior development divisions in our company. Everybody says, "Oh man, the timing's so right." I would say it's a direct correlation for you. Mm-hmm. You're hitting the market correct.
Yeah,
because everything's moving outdoor.
It really is. It really is. And a lot of our the baby boomer generation, they're retiring, and what's great to see is they really they're active. They're really, really active. I feel like my dad is much more active than my grandfather was, and he's actually looking to partake in different types of outdoor activities, and a lot of that has to go into our planning. Nature trails and exercise trails, exercise stations along those trails are just having the opportunity to be outdoors much more than I think previous generations wanted to be.
It is interesting. It is interesting how things are transitioning. If you're just joining us, you're listening to the At Home with Roby show. We're joined by landscape architect Paul Pennell. If you're thinking about any outdoor projects, lighting, hardscapes, we can do that for you at the Andrew Roby Company. Call us today at 704-334-5477 or go to andrewroby.com. Paul, when folks think about designing their home, they know to call an interior designer and they know what to expect. What's that expectation, and do you find people just don't quite understand what you can do for them when it comes to their outdoor space?
Sure. A lot of the outdoor spaces, I think there's opportunities there where a landscape architect could come into an area and really start making some really impressive visual connections to their surroundings. You can really play up whether it's all a matter of scale. If you have a small lot, you can really. Sorry, guys, I'm wandering. I'm trying.
It's okay.
I'm trying to think.
Hey, man, when you're outdoors and you're talking about outdoor spaces, you want to wander. You want to have gardens and trails and the hiking spots that you want to go to.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
So not a big.
So give us the key, your top 5 of what you see trend wise. I mean, we have Patrick McIsaac with Roby Electric coming on. We're going to talk about outdoor lighting. I think that's great visually and gives you ambiance. Give us some more.
Sure. Fire pits are huge these days. They're almost nearly on every single project that we do. On some level, there's going to be a fire feature of some type, and based on the scale or size of the project that we're working on, that will dictate the size and scale of that fire feature.
I personally would like a gas line so I can start my fire pit without having to go through a bunch of crazy kindling. But then I would like it to be a wood fire pit so I can throw wood on it.
Both are used in all of our projects that we work on. With gas lines, natural gas or propane, depending on which one your client wants to utilize. Most of them are natural gas, but there's some really interesting natural gas fire pits out there that are available.
Well, I've seen the one, especially in some of the new multifamily condos and apartment complexes, with the glass. The colored glass.
Absolutely, the fire glass.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yep.
Are those worth a darn?
They are. You can really have some interesting features with the fire glass. You get really nice glow. The aesthetic on those is really interesting. There's some neat ones out there.
You get heat from it, or is it more?
You do. Yeah, you do. Absolutely. You can control the amount of BTUs that come out of those fire pits to provide some heat. And depending on the number of people that will be hanging around those features, you can definitely bump that up.
Now let me ask you this. Do you do any bocce ball courts, cornhole areas?
Absolutely.
The gaming type stuff?
Absolutely. There is a lot of work that goes into making regulation bocce ball. You have to get the drainage right. You have to get the leveling correct. It's those bocce ball players are very particular in wanting to know exactly what they're getting when they start playing.
We've built some bocce ball courts and they're very technical.
They are.
Shuffleboard, cool game.
Shuffleboard. I haven't seen much shuffleboard these days. The new game is pickleball. Pickleball is the latest and greatest. It is coming. We're actually doing some pickleball courts at a Shea Holmes trilogy project that we're working on right now. It's definitely the new athletic endeavor for active
I want to
lifestyles.
learn more about
I was going to
pickleball.
say
in a second.
we're going to Google that in the break, and then we're going to invest in the pickleball industry.
Something called a pickle shot, pickleback or something. I don't know.
Hey, Paul, we're going to take a break. Can you hang with us?
Absolutely.
All right. Well, when we come back, we're also going to be joined by Patrick McIsaac from Roby Electric. We're going to tie this outdoor hardscape into your outdoor lighting to make sure when you're out there you can see everything that you've built. You're listening to the At Home with Roby show. Visit us today at andrewroby.com. We'll be right back.